Welcome back,
there's
everybody, to the League of Inches podcast, our Parra edition. Jake's been very unprofessional talking as the intro is being said, so he's sacked. Live on air sacking. I've given this kid enough chances as it is. So he's just doing whatever he's doing. Who knows? He's on a high still from announcing his birthday live on air on Sunday to make sure no one forgot about it. Obviously, no one has. And he probably got bombarded with messages yesterday, which he wanted. So, well done, mate. Happy birthday again for yesterday. Even though I don't mean it, I just want to make you happy because you clearly want me to say something. So there you go. How's your birthday, mate?
You're just saying it so that everyone who watches this can go, oh, yeah, he's a nice guy. I really like Joel.
I'm not a nice guy. I'm an asshole.
This is not him. No, birthday was great. You know, I just thought I'd wear one of the presents I got. You know, rep for Parra. So I thought I'd bring that out, and yeah, no, it was a really good time. You know, got a lot of birthday wishes from the kids and stuff like that at school, and from a lot of people, friends and stuff. So had a great day. It was good.
I'm a bit worried for you. That looks very comfy. So I have a feeling you might fall asleep at some point. So I'm going to have to make sure I keep you awake during this podcast. Let's get straight into it. Not much time to waste at all tonight. Parramatta beating the Knights on the weekend, 28 points to 6 at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. Got the win on the board. Let's discuss it. Can I be perfectly honest with you, though? I actually don't think, it might be controversial, we played that well on Friday. I think we had a couple of real standout individual performances, which really helped us get home, and they were extraordinary. I'm talking the likes of Lomax, Williams, Moses. We were lucky the Knights are in a bit of a hole. They were absolutely, pardon the French, dog shit. And if we did not beat them and put on a score like we did, there was huge concerns. So we got the job done, granted. And I know Ryle said in the presser afterwards, he actually said, and I agree with him, we played better the 2 weeks beforehand, which I do agree with. I don't think we were great, but we come away with that saying we didn't play great. We still got 2 points. You need those sorts of wins to do anything in your season. And we finally got one of those. What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, look, I do think it was a little bit of the Knights being worse than we were good. That being said, I only want to say that for a certain period of time. So there were 2 periods of time where we really dominated the game. There was very early on for the first, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes or so roughly. And then there was the time immediately after when Kai Pearce-Paul got sent off. Then we bombarded after that. There was like this big lull in the middle of the game where it was 10-0 for a really long time, and I think that's where the issue was. I wouldn't say that we were bad. I think we were bad over certain periods of the game, but I think there was times during the game where we really showed what we could do as well.
Yeah, I want to go into a little bit what you said at the start there, because I've been very, very critical so far of the start from the Eels so far this year. I've been very disappointed by almost every single game so far. I think we've been outplayed in that first 15, 20 minutes for majority of the games this year. And finally, we actually got away to a really good start. 2 tries inside the 15 minutes, which I thought was incentive and reward for a really good start. And a lot of our forwards starting to make some ground and look like they wanted to be there from the get-go, which I really, really enjoyed and love to see.
Yeah, massively. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on specific people. I think that as well as he's been doing, Jack Williams, I just don't think he's a starting middle forward. Whereas I think like Luca Moretti came and he has looked so hungry from this whole season so far, and he gave us, in my opinion, I actually think he was a bigger difference maker in this game than a lot of he's an underrated difference maker in this game that no one really talks about because he got our start going. You've been talking about our start this whole time and what you wanted to see from it. If you want to talk about who had a really great start to the game, Luca Moretti is your man, because I think that he really got us on the front foot. Junior played great as well. He had a good start as well. But we've been lacking ferocity in the middle for the start of games, and I think that really, really helped us there.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And we've been big on him the last few weeks, especially. He was sensational. One thing I noticed towards the end of the first half, and again, you pointed out just before your quick little recap, was we did go away from a lot. I felt like we were trying to score off almost every play that we had. The confidence was sky high. They knew they were versing a Knights team that just wasn't there, and it felt like that was they just wanted everyone wanted to have a score. Everyone wanted to have the fancy flick pass, the fancy play. And I noticed one of the times where we made a mistake, Moses was right there, and I think it was I forget one of the edges. I think ran the wrong line or something. I tried to force something, and he blew up Deluxe. Like he blew up at him, and like there'll be some out there that going, "Oh, I don't like that," but I'm for one love it, and I love the fact that even though we've heard so far this year that this year is really about gelling, getting some things happening, starting to understand the way, and that Moses is still out there to win football games, and that's what I love. And he's our captain, and we need people to start following that. Like we started so well, got out to 2-try lead. Keep on that. What was happening? Don't get too overexcited. I know we've got a few young guys in there that were guilty of this. And luckily this week it felt like the inexperienced guys that were doing this, the experienced ones were a lot better with it. But it was just good to see. It was good to see our captain leading from the front, setting a standard and just saying, no, there's enough of this now. Let's just get back into what we do and go from that.
Yeah. Moses is massively passionate, and I think that's the biggest reason why us as Parramatta fans, being how passionate we are, we love him. And it's also a big reason why fans from other teams seem to hate him most of the time because they see him as annoying. And I get that. But like you just said, like coming from us, we want to see that passion because, Parramatta fans are the type of fans who right now probably haven't given up on us making day. They're probably sitting there going, who cares? What's one big run towards the end? I'm not saying, I'm just saying like we want to see the passion from the players on the field that go like, hey, we want to see something out of you. And it doesn't have to be a win every single game, as much as I'd love it to be. It doesn't have to be. It just has to be that showing that you really want to be out there, whereas that's not what we were seeing at the start. It's not what we've been seeing for the last 2 years, and I think that's why we've been frustrated. But I also think, and I know we'll sort of get onto this, but Lomax is the same. He's very much the same type of player, and I think the fact that we have those two there, we also have Adakar, who's very vocal. It kind of, instead of just being Gutho and Moses, who it has been in the past, where they're the most vocal ones, it's kind of spread a little better now across the field, which I love. I think that's really, really good. So the passion is what I saw come through.
I agree. One other thing I just want to talk about is as a whole, and it was really good. I want to give credit to the coaching, the game plan, things like that. It was very obvious from the get-go that Knights left edge were really weak. It was their weak point, their weak side, and we actually went that right on our right edge. We went that side a number of times. We exploited that, which I really like to see because it shows we're doing our homework. The game plans are intact there for the right game plans as well. I think we'd be guilty of in the past where I don't know if it was the coaching staff were trying to be proud or if it was the players trying to be proud. We'd still go and attack the stronger edge, and we were so guilty of that. Where I think now to see that and target a side's weak point, really, really like that as well.
Yeah. I don't know why we don't do it, and it's easy to see. I know from it's very easy to see from TV side of things that is maybe a little bit harder to see sometimes out on the field and whatnot. But like at least at halftime, like that's the whole reason why we have the coach kind of thing. Is he's supposed to be out there going like, hey, these are the weak points. This is what I've been seeing, and this is what's been happening. It's been working. They should be out there doing that, and they did, like you said. So that's a positive that I don't think I even ever saw from Brad. It felt like with Brad when he was our coach and with the team that we had there, we'd score from anywhere, which was good, but it wasn't like structured scoring. It felt like it just came when it came. Whereas I feel like the way I see the way we're attacking now, we have a plan and we're just trying to set that in motion again and again. And it's a plan that has different like variable options that you can kind of pick and choose between, but you can pick a side and attack it. It's great.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one. Let's get into some player wraps, shall we? Kicking off, I think Jack Williams was absolutely huge. You've hinted towards it as well a bit earlier. I think that game, and we'll talk about the team list later on, but for mine, that has shown me any little single bit of doubt that I had. He is an edge back rower, in my opinion. I don't know if the middle experiment has worked quite as well as the Eels coaching staff perhaps probably thought when they first signed him. He showed on the weekend that he's a very good edge running back rower, can find a really good hole, has a bit of speed on him as well. and very good defensively as well. I thought that was an underrated part of his game on the weekend. He was very good at tying up the edge and keeping that solid. Granted, I know the Knights weren't fantastic, so we'll see that better down the track. But I hope we start to realise we've got an edge back rower here and we're weak in that department. So that for mine just helps us heaps. And just, Jack Williams was absolutely huge.
Yeah. So he started the season playing second row for us. Right at the very beginning, he was playing second row for us, and he was putting up these similar numbers and showing these glimpses then as well. And I feel like everyone's forgotten about it because he's been injured. He was injured for a little while there, and he's sort of come back and been playing in the middles. But he was doing this actually at the start of the season. Even when we weren't looking great, he was actually looking like one of our best. But then, he shifted into the middle when he came back, and I just don't think if he's going to play in the middle, which I don't necessarily hate immediately, it can't be the starting role. He can't be what starts us off in the games because that's getting us on the back foot because he's a little smaller than your stock standard prop kind of thing, and he's not providing that sort of terror to the opposition. Bigger props are seeing him coming and going, whatever. He has footwork at the line, and that's great. But what we need to see. First of all, he had an incredible game. It's funny enough because if you look at his stats, he got one line break, but it feels like he got like three. I don't know if you I don't know how he got credited with one, but he definitely got like three. But he's got footwork at the line. I think off Moses, he's the perfect second rower, and I'd love to see him start there. I know we're going to get into TLT later, but he's been named a prop, and I don't understand it, and we'll talk about it later. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one, but he did really well.
Zach Lomax, what a comeback. There was obviously doubts around his Blues jersey. We'll talk about the players that did make that and congratulate him shortly, but he needed a big one. In the past, I don't want to be too critical of some of our ex-players, but it feels like we haven't been very good as a club in terms of rising to pressure occasions as well. Whenever there's been a spotlight, we haven't quite got up to those levels that were expected, where now we've got someone like Lomax who I actually reckon he went above and beyond what was even expected of him on the weekend. Like he became someone where within probably, I wouldn't even say 80 because it was before that, by about 50, 55 minutes in, he was permanent market in to be on that wing for the Blues. He was going that good, didn't shy away from a single bit of work, probably did extras because he wanted it to be noticed, which I love as well. Again, going in and wanting to be part of things, putting your name up into those sorts of lights. We are very lucky to have him.
Yeah, we are extremely lucky to have Zach Lomax. I think it's probably, in my opinion, I know he's been injured for a little while, but purchase of the season, as long as he plays on the wing, I'll say it now, he'll become purchase of the season based on the back end of this season, barring injury. Something I noticed from him, so when they were kicking to Addocar's side, so they put a kick in, Addocar would take it up and he'd have his hit up. Usually you have your center take your next one up from there. He was taking the next one up from there. He was coming across from his wing and going, like, right, that's me. I want the next, because he just wants to get us off to a start. Like, he wants to start our sets off really strong in himself. And I just think that's just huge. That's very leadership quality. Stat-wise, in case anyone's interested, he ran 30 times for 271 meters. And it's almost as if I'm sitting there going, that's not surprising at this point. That's just Lomax. Like, that's just what he does. And it's so freaky that's just like what you come to almost expect from him. Like if I'm looking at a less than 200 meter day, I'm sitting there going, yeah, a quiet one. So absolute freaky stuff from Zachy Lomax there. And I'll just quickly touch on it because, I do feel the need, and it was on this podcast that we talked about it last time. So I'll be happy just to take that $20 off you whenever you're ready for when I locked him in for the Blues squad a week ago. And just whenever you feel like it, don't rush, of course, but yeah, just whenever you're ready.
Was it on this podcast we made that bet?
I believe it was, yes.
Well, viewers, let us know in the comments what you feel here. I need your advice. I'm more than happy to pay him up. But what has put me offside with this bet, Jake, then after our podcast on Sunday, slid into my DMs with his bank details and stuff. All good. I asked him what his account name was. He replied back in full-blown capital letters in every single letter what his account name is. And that's put me offside. Like, he's yelling at me what his account name is, basically, and I don't respect that. So at the moment, I'm holding it, And I want to know in the comments below, should I pay the man his dues? Because I find that totally disrespectful. And you know
This
what?
is
I don't want to
this is
pay it.
gold. This is gold coming from the guy, and I'll just quickly put this out there. This is gold coming from the guy who said, "I'll." It's not allowed. You're not going to avoid it. He said this was the bet, and I put my hand up and took this bet, but you said you wouldn't void it if you got injured beforehand and was ineligible for choice, and I would have had to pay you. And you know what? I would have. So I think $20. Also, I didn't do it in all caps. So my bank account, when I go into it, he asked me what my name was on there, and I just pressed copy. There's a button where I just press copy from there, and I just pasted it, auto paste, full caps. So there's your answer for that. For just to justify my side of things to the comment section. I expect my $20 by end of day on Friday, please.
I just don't respect being yelled at. So, guys, let me know whose side you're on. Do I pay the man or do I hold it because
Hurt
he's
his
an absolute
feelings.
tosser? So,
Hurt his
one
feelings.
final shout out I want to give is Mitchell Moses. And there could be
Mm.
so many reasons why I give this shout out. The main reason is, though, because of his defense on the weekend, which I thought was absolutely outstanding. Came up with a couple of really big plays defensively. And I think it's been something, and I'm trying not to get too deep into this, but it's something that ever since we originally got Mitchell Moses, I remember Tigers fans laugh and saying he can't defend, things like that. And granted, he had a lot of trouble early on with his defense. He has worked so hard on his defense in the last few years to become one of the best defensive halves in the game, in my opinion. I think he's improved that much, and it's a credit to him because purely on attack alone, I think he's become an elite playmaker, and he probably could have been, I wouldn't say lazy, but could have just relied on that. But it's very clear he wants to be the full-blown package now. He understands where he is at in his game with rep football, things like that. And it's just a shining light, in my opinion, that he's worked that hard to make sure that part of his game is up there now as well. Because for mine, as I said, he's probably up there in the top couple of defensive halves in the game. He's been sensational.
Oh, 100% I agree. This was highlighted to me 2 years ago when he played his first Origin match. Like when I really sort of full-blown started seeing it. He had a fractured back. He missed, I believe, 0 tackles in that game. And from there, I've always sort of been noticing. So there was the game against the Storm a little while back where he just absolutely flattened Nelson Asofa Solomona when he was like right at the line. I don't know if you remember that one. He like picked him up and dropped him. And then obviously on the weekend, like he actually was real physical with his contact, made a tackle that made the new guy, I don't remember his name for the Knights, he made him drop the ball. So there's a lot coming from Moses defensively, and it's not just like those cover defense, which he is good at. It's also getting physical in those one-on-ones, which I really, really like to see. I also give him a little bit of a rap because Air Moses, he's not going to be going out and he's not going to be outdoing Xavier Coates for that bloody aerial try he scored on Atkinson. But I will say, just to see your halfback jump up and take a ball out of the air is hilarious to me. So I saw him do that. It was fantastic. And then not only that, he gets up and he taps one back to Penasini for another try assist for Lomax. So Air Moses was on this weekend.
Yes,
All
it
flights.
was. Anything else you're going to touch on for this game, mate?
Yeah, I will quickly touch on, because we haven't talked about it yet. We have Ryan Madison. We haven't talked about who did play during. This isn't shout out time. This is just talk time. He was out there for half hour. 6 runs for 50 meters. When he was out there, he never did one thing that impressed me. He played very, very basic, and I don't know if that's what he was asked to do. I'll say this though, and this is just a weird little off-topic thing. How tall did he look? I don't remember him being that tall. I know it's weird, right? But I don't remember him. I know, but I don't remember him being that tall. Like the last time I saw him play, not this year, like the last time I saw him play last year or whatever it was, he just didn't seem as monstrous as he did on the weekend. I don't know what it was. But yeah, what were your thoughts on his game?
I think you're being a bit harsh. I feel like he was told, and it was very obvious because there was a few times where an offload was very obvious that he could use it. He was told by Riles, go out there, basically get from A to B up and down the field, make your tackles, very basic sort of stint, and just get out there and sort of do your job. I think it almost was too obvious that he was told to keep the flashy stuff away, which I did feel for him a little bit. But what it also showed me was he's happy to be the team man now, and I like that. If anything, there has been little rumors around in the last 12 or 24 months about him being that team man, especially the last 6 months with the whole buying into BA, things like that. But for mine, I was pretty positive after the weekend's performance from him to say that he has officially brought in to what is happening. He was happy to play that game where, as I said, Madison Love last year would have thrown a number of offloads and things like that during that game on the weekend. But he was happy to listen to the coach, do as the coach had said, and do what was probably best for the team on Friday night. So I'll give him a pass. I actually think his numbers were pretty decent for a 29-minute stint on the weekend. I'm happy to give him another shot.
Well, you can give him another shot because he is playing this weekend. But yeah, look, I'm willing to see how he goes. I'm willing to give him more attempts because I know what he's got in him, and also how much we're paying him. So I'd like to see more from him. I'm not saying I don't want to see more. I really want to see him play, but I want to see more out of him when he plays. Also, there isn't much you can do in half an hour either, to be fair.
Yeah.
But from all reports, he's been absolutely flogging it in reserve grade. So I hope he brings some of that form to us. And the last person, just quickly, is Tony Matsaele. Bit of a rough start, in my opinion, but also he could have been nervous. Like he could have been, I think he did all right. He didn't do anything flash. He didn't do anything special, but congratulations on your debut, I guess.
Yep, congratulations to him. We'll see him, I reckon, a few more times throughout the year. Again, we'll talk about it a bit later, not named for this weekend, but I have said in the past there is a little rotation policy happening at the moment from Riles, and about 3 or 4 of those blokes are sort of in a merry-go-round at the moment. They're going to go, come off, have a rest, go have bigger minutes in reserve grade, come back the week after, go again type thing. So it's all a bit of a learning curve, and I think on the weekend, he wasn't great, but it was his debut. He did get hit a couple of times, I noticed. So it was a big welcome to first grade in a way. But he got up, he kept going, and I love to see that from him. So not expecting the world, but I think he did enough to go, yep, there's enough here to continue to work with him. Plenty of raps on him. That's the thing. There's so many raps out there on him.
Yeah, there is. And you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't think about him before, but I'm actually going to just a quick brief shout out. I think I've seen such improvement from him slowly throughout this year that I'm actually starting to be happy when I see his name in the team list. Is Kitione Katoga. He has developed really. I know, right? And he is at the start of the year. I was begging for him to be out. I was, but Riles has stuck with him all year, and we're starting to really see. I think we're really starting to see the results of that from him. To be honest with you, I'm really, really starting to like what I'm seeing from him. He's starting to be a bit more dangerous in attack and stuff. So I really actually can't wait to see. I hope I eat my words from the start of this year, and I hope that he keeps developing.
Yep. A special shout out to Momax, our Origin representatives for Game 1 of the Origin series up at Suncorp Stadium next Wednesday night. Very keen to watch both of them rip and tear. We got a bit of a glimpse of it on the weekend, and it was fantastic to see them link up a couple of times with the crossfield kicks and things like that. They've built up a very good romance, obviously, as well, a bromance, I should say, at the club, and they'll go into the Origin arena confident doing it together. They obviously did a very good job last year, not being teammates either, so I feel like it can only get better. Again, we spoke about it with Lomax. He proved on the weekend that, yep, it's probably from a power point of view, from a selfish point of view, you'd say 1 week might be not enough. Would love him just to be at the club still for this weekend, but he's shown on the weekend that he's now that elite Origin class player. And as long as he proved his fitness, which he did on the weekend, he's going to be picked in the back line every day of the week. And then for Moses, sorry, he's sort of. I don't want to. I'm trying not to fanboy him, but seriously, like where he's come, I still can't get over what he's turned into as a player, because I thought it was crazy the talk about there was so many out there going, oh, no, it's Luai's jersey, blah, blah, blah. He dominated last year's series. He proved he's an Origin elite player now. And that jersey for mine, as long as he was fit, was always going to be his. I know there's a few Parrot fans that have probably been blinded by this take and not happy with him in the 6. I couldn't give a rat's ass, to be honest with you. I think he'll have just as good of an impact at 6. I think him and Cleary will work really well together. Not going to have any personal pride there or blue and gold pride and say, nah, he should be halfback. Couldn't care. He'll have a really good game. His running game is so good as well. So it might even suit him not having to be organising every single thing on the field, just to sit back a little bit, let Cleary do that, and we get to see his running game, which, again, is such a good strength of his that we don't get to see as much as I would like on a week-to-week basis, where we might actually get to see him in full flourish, which just excites me.
The combination excites me more than any Blues combination has, I think, ever. To be completely honest with you, and I understand that I've got there's a Eels player in there that I love, so obviously I want that excites me, right? But I'm talking about for the Blues. If we're looking at it from a Blues perspective, you have two halves who, yes, typically are the dominant halves. That's what everyone seems to not be able to get over, the fact that they're both the dominant halves. I really think that Moses will be okay with. I really think he'll be able to let go of that, because if you look at both of their games for Clubland, both of them play both sides of the field anyway. They do that all the time. Both of them they float both sides of the field. So it's not as if neither of them can pass that. So they're professional players. Oh, you can't play on that side of the field. Who cares? They can both kick pinpoint kicks. They can both pass pinpoint passes. It doesn't matter. And both of them have a running game, but Cleary shouldn't have to use his as much because we've got Moses, who has his running game sort of a little bit there. And I think that Moses is smart enough too. He tends to show it where he runs at the right times. So I actually think that that's something that a lot of 5'8" struggle with. And I think that him playing as a 5'8", he will actually succeed at. So then you've got two players who can absolutely bomb kicks to get you out of trouble if you need. You got Latrell if you need him to do that as well, to be honest with you. So you've got three options for massive boots down the other end of the field for field position. Both of them have incredible short kicking games. I actually don't know where we lose out on this. You know how you usually have a bit of comparison on their strengths and weaknesses. I don't know what Luai provides that Moses doesn't. So I don't know why there was ever any doubt. Yeah, I don't think there is anything. The only one thing is that they've played together for a long time before, but they've also lost series before, Luai and Cleary together. A few, to be honest with you. So why not try it?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you've absolutely made very, very valid points. End of the day, I'm just very keen to see them both go and be cheering him very loudly from the lounge room with the sky blue on. That is for sure. Let's talk Lockie Galvin back in the rumour mill, back in the news yesterday. Tigers obviously had that meeting yesterday, which surprisingly nothing's really come out yet, which I'm shocked about because they're normally leaked like a horrible tap put together by a dodgy plumber. But for mine, there's a little bit of talk about it could be as early as this year still. That's freshly come back into sort of the rumour mill, which does obviously excite a lot of people out there. It excites probably Parra fans because he has been highly rumoured to be coming to the club. That's his most likely destination by a lot of media out there. I'd love to get him as early as this year. That'd be fantastic for us, Jake. But very interesting. We just didn't hear much out of Light yesterday, which I just find a bit strange because if they did end up saying and agreeing, yeah, no worries. I would have thought by now that would have been out.
Yeah, I would have as well, but I don't know. Potentially they're waiting to see what he does this week in his game or something. I don't know. That's a difficult one there. As an Eels fan, though, I think this is a difficult one because it's almost like we obviously still have Dylan Brown, and I don't think we're going to want to move him on this year because we're actually starting to look like we're finding. Oh, sorry. Yeah, fair actually. Good call. But I was just going to say, if we did get him this year, for example, and I know we'll talk about it in a second, but there's also the potential of him going somewhere else. But Dylan Brown starting to find form back again for the Blues. The whole team feels like it's starting to potentially maybe find form. And I'm almost like, if we did get him over early, is that almost disruptive? Or what do we do with that Dylan Brown situation? Do we shift him early? Do we keep him and he plays off the bench to play or do we even shift Dylan Brown over to the centers for Sean Russell, get Sean Russell off while we have Simonson out or something like that, like we've done before? I don't know. It's a very, very difficult choice in terms of what we would do there kind of thing. So I don't know if it's necessarily a positive thing or not.
I don't think it'd be too disruptive in terms of the fact that I don't think we're in the premiership window this year. I don't think we'll win a comp. I don't think we'll go anywhere near it. So for mine, if you do get that player over now, and that's the long-term plans for the club, which I do believe it is, you just make it happen. You'd put him probably straight in. Dylan Brown's obviously a favourite son in a way to a lot of Eels fans out there, being there since day dot. Clearly not going to be at the club day next year. So you obviously just put him somewhere, probably either start him off the bench. I wouldn't mind seeing him in like that. It's hard because now Dylan Walker's playing that role, but after about 20 minutes coming on playing that lock sort of role and just being I wouldn't mind that, but that's obviously not needed anymore with Dylan Walker doing such a good job at that. So it'd be interesting to see what would happen if that was to happen. I feel like in a way we'd probably let Dill Brown go early. Like that's where I'm coming at with it, because the rumors are Carpy's Paul will also go early to the Tigers. So it's almost a three-way swap deal if that is the way it transcends into things. So I don't know. It's it's a watch this space. Obviously, nothing official at all at most. Just a little bit of whispers doing the rounds. The other whisper is, unfortunately, and that's been getting a little bit louder the last couple of days, is the Dogs are back in contention for Lockie Galvin. The Sexton re-signing still hasn't happened, which has me extremely worried, because I think the form that the Dogs are in at the moment, they've got a lot of pulling power when it comes to player markets. And obviously the halves is something they still want to get stronger into their team to become that full premiership contending team, which I believe they're still a gun fullback or halfback away from being that. And I feel like they're trying to find a way to perhaps make a Galvin Birdo combination work. I personally don't think that's the best combination to go for, but I do think Galvin's an upgrade to Sexton. I think that's very clear out there. And he's just a child prodigy that Gus has loved since the day he sort of stepped on a football field. It feels like Gus has rated him that much and that highly. So I'm a little bit concerned, to be honest with you, Jake. And I just want to say this: if we don't get Galvin after letting Brown go, I think it'd be a huge stuff up in terms of recruitment and retention. Unfortunately, there has been a few of those over the last few years. It'll be a big sort of egg on the face moment, because it sort of, for mine, feels like it's the direct replacement, works out perfect. His childhood club was the Eels. His family still go for the Eels. It feels like it's almost, in a way, it's harder to stuff this signing up than it is to make the signing, if that makes sense. So it would leave me asking you some serious questions towards the club power brokers if we do miss out on signing Galvin.
I do agree with that. I just want to say, in the hypothetical realm that we did miss out on the Galvin signing, I still don't think that getting rid of or letting Dylan Brown go was the wrong call. I think that Parramatta stuck to a price that was pretty fair for the way he was playing and what he was doing at the time, to be completely honest with you. And they were offering him, I believe, around $1 million. And if not, he was on 900,000 for like the next 8 years. It's not as if he's on a bad contract. Like, he chose that, and I understand the money was ridiculous. He made that choice, and I don't think we could have made it by an extra 100,000, but I don't think that changes the answer of what happens there. So that side of things, I don't think was going to change anyway. The Knights offer is too good to be true. It's fairy tale stuff. As for Galvin, I am not a little concerned. I am large concerned. I know that's not a good sentence, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think I have this really bad feeling in the pit of my stomach about the Bulldogs. Like, when Gus Gould starts running his mouth, you just know something's going to happen. And he has been running his mouth about Galvin a lot. Like, he's saying, he's blowing smoke up his ass, and he's really talking about him a lot. And I just don't like that. On the second hand of it, though, when Riles was asked about it, I did like, just in the work, from one of the interviews I've seen from him and stuff like that, the way he talks, it seemed very positive, because he did sort of suggest, like, he said, he didn't suggest it. He said, as soon as we're able to talk to him, we'll talk to him. Like, as soon as that is physically allowed, we're going to talk to him. So the keenness came through. The fact that we are keen on him, and that's pretty obvious that we're keen on him, makes me sort of happy there. So look, I just don't know what to tell you. Like, it's such a 50-50 call right now. And yeah, I want him. I'll be honest with you. I look, the more I think about it, the more I go, you know what? Perfect signing. We really should try to get Lachlan Galvin.
Yeah, no, I agree. So watch this space again. Technically, no one can give him an offer and things like that until November 1. That is still the rule, even though he has already told the club he won't be resigning. He's still contracted for another year with the Tigers, so he can't talk until November 1. But unless the Tigers came out yesterday and they'll say that they're going to grant him an immediate release, then you can probably start getting offers. So the rumors of anyone signing him right now just wouldn't be true, because it can't happen. They can talk, things like that, but that's as far as you can't actually put an offer on the table yet legally. Whether and off the record clubs do that or not, who knows? We've all got our own things around that and what we think. But let's cross our fingers that it's still on the cards. We still get him, because I think it'd be a fantastic signing, Lockie Galvin at the club. TLT dropped today. Obviously, we're versing Manly on the weekend, a DCE-less Manly. Unfortunately, that means they've still got Tommy Trbojevic, who is in the team after not getting picked for the Blues. For the Eels, I just quickly run through the lineup. So Iongi fullback, Russell and Adokar on the wings. Penasini and Semrani comes into the centres. Dylan Brown's your 6. Dean Hawkins comes in for Mitchell Moses at halfback. Jack Williams back to the props with Junior Parlow. Riley Smith still doing quite a good job since starting at hooker. Tuolangi comes into the second row with Katoga still there and Hopgood in your lock position. Walker, Moretti, Madison, and Dury with Papali on your as your 18th man on this team. So obviously the big changes here. Jackie Williams goes to the middle after having a really good game on the edge. I still don't get that. I don't think Tuolangi is a good enough player and shown this year that he pushes a guy who just had his standout game for us this year. That just feels like it's a bit of a you got rocks in your head a little bit, Jason Riles. Obviously Hawkins comes in for Moses. Russell goes to the wing with Semrani coming into the centres. Semrani, I'll give him a wrap as well. I think he's been very good the last couple of weeks, starting to come into the player that we were sort of told early on days and the Dogs had massive wraps on. So he's working his backside off. So thoughts on the changes, Jake?
Look, I don't like them, but I also don't think they're gonna. Some of them, but I also don't think they're gonna stay. Like I have this feeling last minute we're gonna see because it doesn't seem like Rolls. He likes to change stuff right before the game. He's done it a few times throughout the season. I reckon Jack Williams will push out to the second row. I think that Moretti comes back up to start again because he didn't do anything wrong, and I think that Kelma will go off. And then what I think is going to happen is mid game when Luca comes off because he came off pretty early last time. Then I think Jack Williams will shift across into the middle, and then I think that from there you'll see Tuolangi come on, and I don't think he'll start. I will say this: last game we saw of Kelma before he got suspended, I actually thought he played really well. So I am actually looking forward to seeing him play again. I just don't think that it's fair, and I also just don't think that Jack Williams unfortunately gives us the start we need in the middle, like I've said before.
I think
the other one was
Kelma for mine. The worrying sign there is he played well when Moses was next to him, and I feel like he needs that. The fact that Moses isn't there this weekend is a very big concern, especially with the back line of Manly that has been untouched, basically, and they've still got Turbo, which, granted, he isn't fully fit, but knowing our luck, this will be the game he actually tears it up, and our edges are looking a little bit fragile.
Yeah, the other thing I was just going to say was there was some rumors floating around that Josh Papali was going to get his debut this week. And as much as I like Sean Russell as a depth signing, I was actually really excited to see Josh. And I think there's no reason why we shouldn't give him a crack on the wing. Like, if it's not a fitness thing, because he's obviously fit enough, he's been playing fullback for reserve grade and stuff. I'd like to just see him get his start and get a welcome out. And this is probably the week to do it, to be honest with you. I'm just thinking about him taking kick returns back kind of thing, and their forward packs seems like they're a bit down a bit. I don't think Ethan Bullimore hasn't been starting because I think Jake Chibrojevic has been normally, and then Takeaho.
He's been on and off.
Takeaho, has he been starting prop? Yeah, but starting prop though, Bullimore. He's usually off the bench for second row, isn't he?
Oh, well, Jake was out the last couple of weeks and then came back last week, so Bullimore was starting then. So.
Yeah, right. Okay, so it's actually mostly an untouched team. Right. Well, then I was wrong about that. But I'd still, I don't know. I'd like to see him in there. Sean Russell's been solid, but not amazing. And I really want to see, while we had the opportunity and we had somebody out, like in the back line, I would have liked to see him get his crack. That's all I'm sort of saying. And Jordan Semrani's been awesome, and I think he's going to do a great job in the centres. So then I think what we should have done was shift out Sean, have Penasini next to Papali.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see how this game turns out because obviously we've seen this without Moses at the start of the year. It wasn't great to watch. There was times where I was questioning if we were a first grade football team, but I'm very keen to see. This is a huge test to see where this playing group has now come after a couple of months of first grade footy week in, week out, see what they've learnt. Their two best players are out. Time for these guys to step up. Again, Manly's almost untouched. They've obviously got no DCE, which is a big blow for them, and no Jake through injury. But apart from that, it's a very strong side all over the park with a couple like Kamole, who didn't get his origin spot on the bench. He'll be out for blood, in my opinion. He'll be very damaging, very scary. Up to us defensively to be on here. And I feel like we need to go out with the mindset of winning this game, like 12 points to 10 or something. Like I feel like that's the way we can perhaps win this game. I don't think we want to get in a shootout with them because I think they got too much class over the park, too much attack as well, which we'll lose out without Moses and Lomax. So I'm just interested to see how the boys handle it. Personally, just to be upfront and honest, I'm not expecting us to win this game. I think just the fact that we are missing both players, star players, are a huge blow to us. If they didn't have Turbo, I probably would be a little bit more confident. But just the fact he's there just has me extremely concerned.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't have a bad feeling about this one for some reason, and I don't know. I can't back it up with any any reasoning, especially based on the way we've named our team. But I'll say this: Olakawatu is obviously their right side second rower, so our left side's Kartoga. Kartoga's a big body, like he's good. He should hopefully be good. He's shown he's got very tough defense, so he should be okay in those one-on-ones against him. So I'm hoping that. But I'm thinking about Ben Trbojevic on the right-hand side, and sort of because obviously he has a bit of leg speed, he's a bit quick. And we've shown that Kelma can be kind of outdone by people that kind of have that. So I really actually quite hope that Jack Williams gets put there. At least it's just until the leg speed goes off Ben just a little bit, then you shift in to Alongi from there, because otherwise I think Ben might put a bit of a clinic on Alongi.
Yeah,
which I don't really want to see.
I think you're right. Like I'm a bit worried about the mind games maybe might be being overplayed slightly, because even like Moretti, like we said, was really good last week and he got to start. I don't like the fact he's been rewarded by that by being unrewarded, if you know what I mean. Like he's been moved to the bench. I just don't think that sets a very good standard, especially when, as I said, we had our best start to a game all season and he was part of it being in the middle. So hopefully there's a bit of mind games. Hopefully they do some late changes. We see basically the starting side from last weekend. I'd really like that. And I think there could be some merit with having someone like Kelma come on fresh after 25, 30 minutes and playing against a tiring forward pack when it comes to Manly. But good luck to the boys, Jake. I think it's obviously the Friday night game, 8 p.m. Very keen to watch this one. That's at home, so hopefully everyone gets out there. I'm a bit annoyed, to be honest. Like one little quick thing for the NRL. This is obviously a huge rivalry game. To have this on this weekend where both sides have got some Origin players out, which was always going to be expected. Like whether people were fit or not, there was always going to be one or two, I think, from both clubs at least out for this. I don't like it. Like these sorts of games should be when both teams are pretty much fully fit, which I know some people out there go, well, the injuries and stuff. But in terms of just having that look, 2 weeks ago, have this game where teams are going, there's not Origin impacted teams, because we all know the rivalry, Manly and Parra, here we go again. Love it, but I just feel like it's been taken off a little bit. It just shouldn't be put on this weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it, but at the same time, I think that almost all clubs are affected a little bit, and like there's going to be a bunch of others of those where like those types of games where we're going to be seeing the exact same thing. So it's a bit hard to kind of.
Do you honestly think the NRL would put South versus the Roosters on at this time?
No,
that's fair. In the world.
That's fair. That is valid.
For Parra fans, this is the equivalent. Like this is huge.
Yeah, and that, like I said, it's a fair point. I think there is no rivalry in the NRL that is Rabbitohs and Roosters. I think that is the rivalry when it comes to, like, everyone knows it. It's the most known one in the game, in my opinion. But you know, I get what you're saying. So I think, yeah, you'd want to be versing a team where we don't really have that affiliation, where it's that real like build up towards it kind of thing, for sure.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Anyway, that's it. That's it for our Parra this weekend. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Again, smash that like button, add some comments in, share it around, do all that jazz. It's all free. It helps support the page, helps get this part of the podcast out there as well. To all your Parra fans, get around us. Anyone out there who's a Parra fan who owns a business who wants to sponsor this podcast as well, please reach out via the DM, slide in, have a chat to us. I'd be more than happy to chat to you, see what we can organise for the rest of the season and moving on to try and really start to build this. But yeah, that is it. Good luck to the Parra.
Don't forget to comment and say, I reckon hashtag pay Jake what he's owed. That's what I'd say. Hashtag pay Jake what he's owed.
Hashtag Jake's a bum if you don't want me to pay him. So Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy. Go the Eels. And guess what?